Hey everyone, today I'm going to be walking you through my 3 Drake Sarth 10-man kill as a Drake tank. I'll have my gear and talents in the description, but the kind of two main things to talk about with those, I used 2 damage trinkets. I didn't really need the extra stam from stam trinkets. As the Drake tank, you're really not taking too much damage compared to the Sarth tank. And for my talents, I picked up Imp Might and I picked up Heart of the Crusader. Normally I don't do that, but we wanted to optimize a little bit for this group, and I was the only one who could bring improved attack power and the 3% crit debuff, so that's why I spec'd into those. Alright, so let's just hop right into it. At the beginning here, the main thing, there's not too much going on here, but just don't use any cooldowns here. Make sure you have everything available for the Drakes. Those are the hard parts of the fight, specifically Shadron and Vesperon. Also, make sure you don't pull threat off your main tank here. It's really easy to do that. So just watch your threat here. This damage doesn't matter at all. It's just something to do while you wait for Tenebron to land. So now that we've got Tenebron landing, there's also an ad coming up at the same time. We're picking that up while we pick up Tenebron. Also a lava wall, side safe. So we gotta make sure we don't get hit by that, and then we'll move into position here. And I'm not in a really great spot here. I don't know why I was like so close to the lava on this pull. That was really dumb. I took quite a bit of unnecessary fire damage from that. So I should have been a little bit further on the land here. I don't know why I played so close to lava here. But anyway, yeah. Make sure you're picking up ads. It's really important to have your camera zoomed out here so you can see like the whole field here. And these whelps, they're gonna put a debuff on you, reduces your armor, so it's important that these die pretty quick. When Shadron comes out, I always just hit him with a hammer or a Hand of Reckoning really quick, and then try to do some burst threat on him. Tenebron threat should be way good by that point. You shouldn't really need to do anything to him, just kind of focus on Shadron when he lands. And continuing to just watch for any ads that spawn. Make sure we pick those up. I actually taunted that ad, and then our DK tank taunted that back. He shouldn't have done that. You really don't want any extra ads on the main tank, because the Sarth tank is taking plenty of damage as is. So here, we were a little behind on our damage from the previous pull. So I waited a little bit, because in the pull before this, Shadron, I think it actually died before Vesperon landed. So that timing on this one was a little close, but it ended up working out. Rocket boots are pretty incredible, as you can see. So here we're just doing the same thing. Also to note, we did do this with one healer, so we had some extra DPS for this. Our Holy Paladin Kachi, she was the only healer here. We did have a Shadow Priest though, which helped quite a bit. And you'll see that ad over by the main tank. There's no way I'm going to get to that, so we're just hanging out over here. He's just got to kind of deal with it. But the Holy Paladin pulled aggro on it there, so I do have an opportunity here now to actually get it. But I taunted it, DK taunted it right back, so that once again did not work out. And I generally like when it's a side save firewall and we're on Vesperon, I usually like to move towards Sartharion. You gotta be a little bit careful though, because your DPS can get tail whipped when you're moving that way. So that is one thing to be aware of, but I like to keep the whole raid as close together as possible, especially, you know, when you've got one healer. So I generally move over there, but you do need to be careful with that. Then coming into the portal, focus down Acolyte of Vesperon first, and then Shadron. They both die really quick, not really a huge deal, but. And coming out of the portal, I used my Hand of Reckoning there. I should have just used Righteous Defense there, because I can't use Righteous Defense on those ads that were on the DK tank, otherwise it'll taunt Sarth too. Possibly Breath the whole raid. And Elemental there, I could have just let it stay on the shaman so it didn't get enraged, but honestly, it's not too big of a deal when they get enraged if they're on a tank. If they're on other people, it matters a bit, but yeah, it took a tail swipe there, kind of silly. Should be a little further over. And yeah, here we're just looking around. This is the easy part here. We're just trying to look for any ads we can, but there's not going to be too many until the very end. And also earlier during Vespron, I should have used my Divine Sacrifice. That's a really, really good cooldown to use during that time. If you use Divine Sacrifice and Shield Wall, that'll like really reduce the damage everybody's taking during one of the harder parts of the fight. So I definitely should have used that there. Definitely recommend doing that. And you don't have to cancel the damage transfer part either. Like when you're popping Shield Wall in conjunction with it, like the damage transfer doesn't really matter too much. So you can like significantly reduce the damage the whole raid's taking. Because on Vesperon, all your DPS are going to be doing 25% of the damage they deal to themselves. So that's why it's like such a good time to pop that DSAC and pop that shield wall with that, so that you can actually leave the damage transfer up without worry and also reduce everybody's damage. And the healers can really focus a little bit more on the Sarth tank and just topping everybody up during the hardest part of the fight. And we did make a pretty big mistake here. We forgot to have a fire res buff up. Just a little miscommunication. Either our shaman should have been dropping fire res totem, or I should have swapped a fire res aura. I am often out of range of the DK tank though, so it would be better for our Holy Pally to do that. So she could have done like fire res aura, I would have been Devo. But then also our DK tank wouldn't have had Devo. Probably worth it for him to have Devo and a fire res buff. So I think I would have just gone with the fire res totem. And then our Pally could have swapped to fire res aura when she was going to pop aura mastery for that. And then swap back to Devo. But yeah, that's the whole fight right there. It's definitely a lot harder than it is in 25, man. We found it was a lot easier to just solo heal it. And of course, there's the Zerg strat too, which will make it even easier if you have the damage to do that. But yeah, that's the entire fight right there. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask anytime. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.